have a mother for the community in the sense that she's loving this mission. Imam Mohammed was proud of her. And I said, you know, this is just a great occasion. So I'm going to not prolong because I want to get right into our address. And first of all, I want to thank you all, each and every one of you, for your presence. Also thank you in TV land and in radio land for tuning in. You could be doing something. I know it's about 18 days before Christmas. Some of our Christian friends are going to shop. So you all got something to shop for. I'm going to give you something to shop for. Let's open with the Word of God. We're going to get to the nativity too. The manger, all of that will be covered in the course of our address. And we ask Allah, as Imam said, when you approach the Quran, oh Allah, give us the message you know we need to make us better Muslims and more obedient to you. And with that spirit, I'm not going to read it in Arabic. I'm not here to impress you. I'm going to read it in English. And it's from the Surah, the Roman Empire. The Roman, Alif Lam Mim. The Roman Empire has been defeated in a land close by, but they, even after this defeat of theirs, will soon be victorious. Within a few years, with God is the decision, in the past and in the future, on that day shall the believers rejoice. With the help of Allah, he helps whom he pleases, and he is exalted in might, most merciful. It is the promise of God. Never does God depart from his promise, but most men understand not. They know but the outer things in this life of this world, but of the end of things they are heedless. Surely God speaks the truth. We're on a 7-year journey. June, the day that Imam Mohammed passed, got the word, almost fainted. And but I know what he told us. So I made salat. I was in one of these dirty Yemen stores. I said, would you please let me use your back room so I can pray, because I'm about to pass out. You know, this Imam, Imam, I had big plans to work with him, you know. So I said, no. And so about 2 or 3 months, I didn't know what was going on in terms of leadership until February 2009 at Savior's Day. I read in May 31st edition of Muslim Journal where Imam Mohammed said, sister asked him a question, good question. What will happen to your work, she said, in effect, after you are gone? If something happened to you, she said, just after you're gone. He said, you'll get a leader just like me. And I said, I know all the family members. I love them. No, I'm serious. I love them all. I love them. I'm in touch with them. I love them. I know them all. I have great, sacred respect for them. And they know that I have respect for me. Someone would love to recruit me into that camp, but that's another story. I told them, the Saudis tried it, the Iranians tried it, they had more money than you, so you know I'm not going to be. The Christian preachers tried it, they weren't successful. The Mammoths tried it, they weren't successful, so don't, I'm not for sale. The reason I'm not for sale, because our parents, our foreparents, paid a price. I want you to understand that this is the era of Ferguson. Yep. So we're mindful of that. Yep. So Uncle Tom, y'all can pack up your bag and go now. Because there are a lot of us that are Uncle Tom. We don't think we should deal with ethnicity. Yep. But don't expect me to talk like Farrakhan or Jesse Jackson or any of that. I'm going to channel, as they say in the spiritual world, Imam Deen Muhammad, and address you. This is an address. It's not a speech. This is not a rap. You know, You know, I have a 13-year-old and a 17-year-old. They keep me pretty hip, I guess you would say, with what's going on in the world of hip-hop. I still told them I can't figure out why, if you hip, why you would hop. So that sounds like a trick to me, if you hopping after you're hip. I know no African American came up with the idea of hip-hop. Somebody else invented that. Sounds like one of Satan's schemes. Hip-hop. You know, when you see somebody say, I'm hip. Hey man, let me tell you something. You hip? Yeah. I'm hip. Then all of a sudden you go, hop? Doesn't make sense. So I know we're in the world of Chief Keef, J. Cole, you know, Nicki Minaj. If I was in all brothers meeting, I would address that. Fit Company can't address it. We need to have some private brothers meeting. Yep. Y'all want to know, I was invited to Ferguson. And one of my enemies was standing with the person that gave me an invitation. I won't tell you who he is, but I blasted him. Call him by his ex. Hey, you won't scare me. Don't think you're going to come on my program. You're not with us. He backed down. He said, rebuke Satan. He will flee. I know you're the one that caused this split in this community. I'm going to smile in your face. I don't have any reconciliation blood with any means. I don't have reconciliation with hypocrites. Now that's enough for the fire. Let's go to work. We started June of 2009 with an address called The Emergence of Global Man. No, we said from nativity to the emergence of global man. I delivered it. And I said, let me close it out in December, in the season of expectation, so I can speak to the message of some of the other people in the world, because we're speaking to the world religion. Other people can pick this up. You know, one of the rappers picked it up. I blasted him so hard, he had to come up with a song called Osama, son of a gun, Mohammed, son of a gun. I knew he was talking about me, because we've been blasting him. Yeah, I know that's an act you're putting on, Mr. Rick Ross. That's an act. You're a correctional officer. Your name is Shepherd. So Satan is playing with your name. You are Shepherd. But now you're running around like you're a gangster. You're a correctional officer. You're not but a greasy correctional officer. You know? I ain't gonna talk about his physical weight, but he should lose some of that too. But he should lose that false weight to sell out people down the creek. Yeah? 2 Chainz. Mr. Tawheed Epps. See, we're calling these people. See, I'm not here, and we shouldn't be here, to address people and make fun of and have fun with them. See, the other entertainer, the big entertainer, the national greatest spellbinding entertainer, I know some of you might not like that, but the greatest entertainer ever walked the earth since Barnum and Bailey, the circuit man, he would tell them that. He would play with them. But I'm going to call Mr. Epps when Satan is finished with him to what his true name is, Tawheed Epps. Now I understand down at the Atlanta school, they had an image of Imam Deputy Mohammed, and they had the girls doing naked dances on them. Yeah. Well, I tell you something, I'm going to be in Atlanta. I'm telling y'all something. I'm not somebody to play with. Yeah. Okay. Now the leaders, they ain't got no answer, but this convention, I'm going to every major city in this country. Now I know y'all got a community service team, so I hope y'all travel with me. But I could travel by myself. Yes, somebody said, oh, does Alfred have a title? Is he the national spokesman? I don't need a title. I got a loud enough mouth, good salesman. I don't need a title. I tell you, like Sade said, I'm just a soldier of love. Because I love you. First, I love God. Right. I love the people that God has chosen. I think about 300 years ago today, one of our ancestors was freezing. Someone laying on the floor, the babies were not fed. That's our story. That's the story. That's the story of Joseph. Everybody in here should get 10 of these books and sell them to every African American. Huh? That's our story. Huh? Y'all say y'all can't sell? You tell David Hassan the next time they have any business, I will show them how to sell our material. And I'll prove it. I'll go out on the streets of any city in the United States of America, and I guarantee I'll sell anybody. Now, I'm like Muhammad trained me to sell. Huh? I'm going to give up that. I told this hypocrite, I said, the general orders are still in effect.
That's right. That's right.
To walk my post in a perfect manner. Right. And I said especially to allow no one to create a nuisance on or around my post. And what told our post? The so-called American Negro. Huh? That's the facts. And the fact is that we have the situation in Ferguson and Southside Chicago that people can shoot us down. Eric Garner, I believe, is a powerful sign. He's going to galvanize us. But the phony leaders don't have nothing to tell them. And this is our time. I'll tell you why I chose the subject. We are no longer reluctant. We're coming out of the reluctance. That's right. The reluctance days are over. We're a committed witness. We started with nativity. We talked to address the nativity as the natural first urge in a people. That's what the nation was about, nation nativity. Richard Wright wrote a great novel in this city called Native Son. Chicago is a powerful historical city. And what did he call his main character? Bigger Thomas. What he was saying is that aberration, that criminal, that Ray, the guy that's running from the popo. That is the biggest Tom of all. That's what he's saying. That's what he's saying. Here's some woman come to help him. He kills her, and then he puts her in a furnace. That's Bigger Thomas. That's what Richard Wright was saying. He was talking about how that nativity urge can run. All I have to do is tell you the nation of Islam. We saw what happened with that urge. Oppression, slavery, suffering, and death. We used to have the blackboard. Freedom, justice, and equality. They flipped it. Slavery, suffering, and death under captain, the lieutenant secretary. And where I got my courage from was seeing a minister, a young minister, Minister Wallace D. Mohammed, come into the temple and blast him. And I know I had to be crazy. A faith went up. I was standing there, sitting next to Raymond Sharif, Captain Raymond Sharif. Yeah. May God have mercy on him. You know, I don't go into this stuff. I don't know where y'all get this stuff from. May God forgive me, ma'am, of his sin. What sin, ma'am? Right. Ma'am was a saint. I'm an ain't. Huh? Rahmatullah alayhi. These other foreigners, they say Rahmatullah alayhi, then they tell you, Negro, may Allah be pleased with him. Huh? No, that's nonsense. Now, we know his good outweighed his bad. Look at this. Look at the millions of people. Look at the new world. So we addressed the issue of nativity. And we said that would emerge a global man. Why do we choose that title, global man? Because I got it from Imam Muhammad, choose it. Every people in the world is within us. That's why we're the first people must throw down the color barrier. Got to throw it down. Like you got some of us look like a Caucasian. You got some of us look like Indians. You got some of us look pure like they straight out of Ghana. I'm not talking with Dr. Nuruddin here. No. But God has taken 41 tribes out of Africa. I don't know where Ron Karinga get his idea. He don't have it. No, he don't. We didn't come from East Africa. What are you talking about, Kwanzaa, Ron? Yeah? Sound like a preacher like your daddy, Reverend Ron Everett. See, when we start, if we want to change the circumstances of our people, and we are about that because of the fact that that's what our prophet was about. Oh, what you talking about? Prophet about revelation. Well, how did he get to revelation? He went into the cave. He was a man totally turned off to religion. There were Christians. There were Jews in his time. There were Sabians. But he went into the cave because he was concerned that the Arabs are just like us. A bunch of rappers. A bunch of talkers. Disrespected by everybody in the world. Anytime a policeman can shoot you down and lay the body up for 5 hours, they wouldn't even let a cat live like that. Huh?
That's right.
They would call animal cruelty if you did that.
Yes, sir, brother.
Huh? Then they go and justify. Now, because I'm going to get to us too now. I have an initiative called the Urban Peace Initiative that I'm asking you to support. The Urban Peace Initiative is Stop Ray Ray too now.
Yeah.
And Keisha.
Yeah.
So I say to people, look, I'm just as worried, I'm more worried about Ray Ray than I am about Ray Kelly's boy and the Popo. I know that they grabbed Eric Garner and killed him. But when we as a people come back to our original nature that God put in us, that had us when you know this man named Tom Burgess of Virginia. I'm not a historian, I want you all to know it. I'm a man of scripture. I started the quest of religious leadership from a child. God knows I tried to run away from it several times. I want nothing to do with it. I was telling your son Muntaz, I said I want to be a physician, so son, please be a physician. That's what I really want to be. I want to be a physician. I really never want to be a preacher, you know. Well, anyway, won't tell it them, but that's another story. But no, because there are good, sincere preachers. Dr. Martin Luther King was, others. But I'm just saying my desire. But once God put this in your heart, in your mind, and what brought me into the nation of Islam, brought me out of the church, out of the pulpit, is that I heard a message from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad that would raise our people up. And that's why I had no problem transitioning to Imam Deen Mohammed, because I heard the best universal message, and it took me out of the narrow-mindedness where I could appreciate. I felt ashamed of Dr. King, but in my heart of heart I loved him. So Imam Muhammad was able to bring the two sides together.
That's right.
We talked also in the early beginning, one of our last lectures. We're gonna hope to record the first lecture somebody stole. Yeah, we came here for the first Sunday. We were over at the homework, and they stole it. So I told the president of the mosque, don't worry about that. Because they did the same thing when I spoke for your father. But guess what? When this becomes big, the bootlegger's going to come out. They said the priests come out at night, the bootlegger's going to come out at night. And this time we're going to have some big burly brothers and some burly sisters. What you doing with the imam's tape? Snatch it right out of their hand and slap them. Because see, the day of mercy is rapidly coming to end for all of us. Me, all of us. Judgment is upon us. Remember, we're on a 7-year journey. This is 40. I wanted to thank God, Allah, the creator of the heavens and earth, for his blessing me to get here. Didn't know I was going to get here. Some nice brother sent me a ticket. As of Thursday, we didn't know where we even had the finances to get here. But I want to come in December for 2 reasons. One, it's the end of the year, and we're entering the 40th year of the leadership. We're also entering the 7th year of the leadership. These are powerful numbers. Powerful numbers. Powerful numbers. 40 years, that tells me that we are no longer wandering. God said, and we found you wandering, and then we guided you. So I looked at the convention this year, and I see faces coming back despite their leaders. I had really a lot of fun, seeing all these believers. And I make sure that I greet all the people. You all will be in Chicago and all these cities. Go and meet 10 people. They don't know nobody. They come. Welcome them. Welcome. Nobody appointed me to that. Somebody said Alfred trying to be the national spokesman. One person said he's going on first. He's trying to be like Al Sharpton. Now I'm superior to Al Sharpton. Al Sharpton ain't got nothing on me. Skill-wise, nothing. And I tell you, I'm just a little brother. I don't feel him, Farrakhan, Jesse, put them all together. West, wrap them all up, put them on the stage together, and I'll take them on in a debate. And it won't even be a debate, it'll be a slaughter. Intellectually, spiritually, And most of them wouldn't even come on stage with me. No, because I stand on what God has given us. This is the day of Qiyam, the day of standing. So if we have been given this powerful message by God, as I said, I want to get back to this. Thinking about what our foreparents went through. We need to know that. 300 years ago, you and I were possession. I got on the coming, and this is a powerful sign. I'm on my way to here, and I see a person's name, the TSA officer, and he says his name is Booker. I said, wow. I said, we're from the same plantation. I said, my name is Mohammed, but I came from the Booker plantation. Where you from? He said, Jersey City. So he says, I said, well, you're from Jersey City. I know our history, our people. You probably migrated out of Buckingham County. Because when our people migrated, as a way of history, all the people from, Ruleville, Mississippi, would stay in a certain neighborhood. And they kept that, and generation after generation. So you check out somebody in Chicago, most of the people in Chicago, Mississippi. Any Mississippi in the house? Mississippi, Arkansas. See, you go to California, they're most from Louisiana. So that's the pattern. So you see those names, you remember, you study, travel around as much as I have, you start seeing patterns. And remember, Imam Mohammed told us what? Make connection. Make connection. So we said that the importance of this native urge is not sufficient to get us into the universality of the world order. Now, that does not mean that if you go to college, you forget your elementary arithmetic. No, you don't do that. You can't forget that. That's the foundation. So that's what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad did in establishing us as a people, introducing us. He said, cleaning us up, emptying us. As I told a group of the Imams, I said, I have a DDS, all the high potentate. I said, it doesn't stand for a doctor. I know we had probably, one of them would represent one of the doctors who done surgery. But anyway, I said to him, I have a degree in the doctorate of denignification sciences. And I learned that from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Didn't the Nation of Islam process you and make you empty of that? You didn't have no personality. We all try to act like the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, right? We try to act like family members. If you check the pattern of this community, the business people follow a certain family member. The other people want to be academic father. Because that was the only, for us as a people, that was the only family that had broken the sound barrier of slavery.
Yeah.
The sound barrier.
That's true.
That was a sound barrier. See, even though Booker T. Washington, even though Frederick Douglass, even though George Washington Carver, I want to stop for a minute, because I have to devote a few minutes to what happened to Bill Cosby. Now, I'm not here to litigate. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not here to try his. But it's awfully strange
Come on with it, brother.
that they attacked him after he said that the black Muslim should be emulated. You know what I mean? In law, they said we can infer from the evidence. All right? All of a sudden, you bring up charges 40 years ago.
That's right.
You know what? If I had some courageous men, I'd go around there and picket NBC. Period. Gloria Elrod. Suddenly she'd represent. I told my wife, I said, very soon Gloria Elrod will show up. Watch it. And she didn't. With that pocketbook. And I want to share with you, as we go to this pantheon of African American leaders, we started with Frederick Douglass. I shared with you earlier, to Nat Turner, Gabriel Prosper, Denmark Vesey, being the crown of resistance, was not the beginning of our birth, because God didn't want us to be birthed as a physical being, but they were showing resistance in the womb. Frederick Douglass came out without a shot, with moral authority, and shamed Lincoln.
Yep. That's right. Yep.
Later on, Bennett calls it forced into glory. Now, Lincoln didn't want to free up. Nah. You know what? It's sad to say. The abolitionists themselves had been through with slavery. They'd made all our money. They ain't sure. So now they flip the script to weaken our southern brothers. Let me tell you something, dear people. We should accept, as Imam Mohammed said, the shared freedom space. But he also warned us that there are elements in this country that don't want us at the table. But guess what? With the moral authority, we're going to elbow our way to the table.
That's right.
This is our country. We are the Americans.
That's right.
Huh? We were not, everybody else is a migrant, including the American Indians.
That's right.
We were created on the soil of America.
That's a fact.
We are the omni-American, one scholar calls us. The omni-American, meaning that we came in America empty. There was no Pulo. There was no Yoruba. We can have genetic traces. We don't have any memory of that. There was no, the Ashanti didn't come in, they went to Jamaica. But we had all these people that were brought here, but they were empty, they have no traces of it. Only thing you can see is plaques, little food taste. But that was wiped out of us. So much so that I didn't even want to find. I said, well, if I did go back to Africa and found I had a genetic, family member looked up the genetic trace. And I said to myself, why are you looking up a genetic trace when you don't even get along with your cousin? No, it's kind of psychological mystification, they call it in psychology. In other words, it's mystifying you. See, I can't get along with cousin Ellie. I can't get along with my sister. But in the meanwhile, I'm going to trace somebody that happened 700 years ago.
Yeah.
I went in the village. I wouldn't know what to say. And they found the exact village I came from. What wouldn't I know? They wouldn't know nothing but me. In fact, they may kill me because he brought me nothing. Now, you over in America? You're a Yoruba? You from this town? You're an Ibio and you ain't got nothing for me? You just want to be a tourist? They're waiting.
Yep.
You should be there. When we build mosques, we will solve the Ebola crisis. Now, the Chinese are there, we are going to be there. That's what God is raising up. That's the committed witness. Huh? This is big. If we think this is some local masajid talk, then you're sadly mistaken.
That's right.
I heard Imam Mohammed say to somebody, he said, I thought you said you're going to remake the world. Imam said, I didn't say I was going to remake the world. I remade the world. That's a fact.
That's right.
The world of 1950, the world of 1960, President Barack Hussein Obama, a citizen of this city, of Cook County, would have not been possible without Imam W. Deen Mohammed. He created the New World Patriotism. He separated the bad America from the good America. He finished cutting the tail of the white man off. Like Muhammad had almost had pretty much cut it off. But Imam offered him a bomb. But he also, in his last convention speech, told us what? An old touring car could hardly make it up the hill. What hill? Capitol Hill. For what purpose? You going up there to beg for more food stamps? You going up there to beg for more jobs?
No way, bro.
Scientists say, economists say, if 20% of the African American middle class were to spend its money with its own self, we would have 1 million jobs.
That's right. Yeah. That's right.
Now, do you know why? Some of y'all got a funny impression. I don't think that these little guys are running around here trying to block our progress. These hypocrites, these are paid people.
Yeah.
They're paid. Why are they paid? This is a 2.5 million community with 10 million or more sympathizers. They know what the deal is. If we just bought 2.5 million socks a week,
That's right.
at $2, that's $250 million. They realize not going begging some other immigrant to do your meat, That we just bought the meat from that's billions of dollars. That means farmers with jobs. Huh? That's what the real destiny of us is, community. Let me tell you something. I'm going to stop for questions and comments if the president permits me. Because the next time I'm coming back, I'm going to talk. I hope to come back in April. And it's going to be the Joseph strategy. I hope by that time I have some money. So we're going to advertise on WBBN, radio, TV, that packed house. Liberation has come for our people. That's what we want to tell our people. You know, we have to be bold. You know, we need our men back on the street to tell our people. That's what's going to turn them around. Yes, sir. That's going to turn them around. Everybody in my neighborhood know me. Huh? That's why I tell you, I don't need a post. I got one. I talk to everybody. I see 10 African Americans a day. I was with the president one day. I was in a place. Man came up and said, I know you. You always say you know a person you don't, because you don't want to insult him. Hell, I know him. So I ain't no spook. You know, y'all pray for me. So he said, you spoke at my church. And I said, well, what church? I've spoken at a lot of churches. So which church was it? He said, you know my pastor? I said, no, yeah, I know a lot of pastors. See, unlike you, some of you, I speak in the church, and I don't come as Reverend Booker. I don't come as some of y'all high. I go in as Imam Alfred Mohammed. One of my sons almost had a heart attack when at church. I went to a funeral of a great preacher, and I said, I'm Imam Alfred Mohammed. And I rise on this occasion to bear witness that this pastor fulfilled what Jesus Christ said. I went on. But the deacon came, he shook my hand. But anyway, continuing on, because you need to know some good news. So I'm sitting in this restaurant with our president. So he comes up to me, I go to the bathroom, the guy said to me, I know you. Well, where you know me from? So I found out, he said, you know Pastor Ben? Oh, I said, yeah. He said, yeah, you preached in my church. I said, sure did. Remember? I said, guess who's with me? I said, I have Elijah Muhammad's grandson with me. Imam, he said, not WD. But I said, that's right, Imam WD. Turned like he'd been with us at one time. But we turned him off so badly, and we haven't shown him where the Islam is. He's in the church. Because I'm telling you, when I visit churches, 60% of the men in the church don't tell you, including this particular, well, out the pastor. But the pastors tell me all the time, man, Doc, I don't believe in this. They're waiting for us to get strong so they can stand up. None of them, 80% of them, don't believe that.
That's right.
But your weakness, your sitting down, your refusal to stand and be bold, your refusal to run these hypocrites out of our centers, your sheep, like they know, we on nativity, right? That's one of the animals in there. We're going to mix this up a little bit. So, you know, you say the picture at the nativity is one of the animals in the nativity, Jesus being the innocent baby. The baby now, let's get quickly to give you, demythologize that. Jesus represents the innocence of the human being. That child that's born with innocence. But a people, we are that people. Didn't God say he found us an orphan? And he gave us shelter? Sure he did. You apply these to, the problem with us African American Muslims is we apply scripture out of context. Then we get mad and want to bring some tough see if somebody lived 1400, 800. Oh, I read Tubbery, man, and Tubbery said this. Man, what does Tubbery know about 21st century? Nothing. And if he were here, I'd tell you what Tubbery was doing. He'd be sitting, if he's sincere, he'd be sitting looking at Imam Muhammad, trying to read. Said, brother, you got any of that? And guess what? How do I know? Because I met with them. See, I met with the good people of them. I've also met with many of their thieves. I was at a big worldwide conference, and one of the thieves took my idea. I'm talking to the Buddhists. I know I wasn't going to talk to him. He claimed to be a Muslim. But I knew right away that he was a white supremacist, racist. I know he cared nothing about me. So I started talking to the Caucasian. When he started talking about Islamophobia, I said, man, that sounds like homophobia. I said, I don't believe that there's Islamophobia in America. I don't believe that. I said, if it were, I would know because I'm from Lynchburg, Virginia, and I would be quick with ears and eyes to detect any kind of phobia. So I know you hustling, so you can open up more stores, so you can get more of your children to go to medical schools, so you can move up to the top of the society and appoint some Negro as your spokesman, or put a white face on American Elder Son. I tell you what Imam Mohammed said. He said if a Caucasian were as qualified as him, and you can't follow him, he said he wouldn't follow him. Now what I look like following somebody? What I look like following somebody? Let me repeat it. What I look like following somebody? That's right. That look like the people that put me in slavery. What the hell? I don't care what his name is. Muhammad, Ibn Muhammad, Bender. I wouldn't follow him nowhere but to the bank and make sure it's an authentic check or to a customer line. Y'all start following them people, you close up your steak and ticks. Right. Yeah. Y'all start following them and you throw business away. And then you put it on the Imam. Yeah. Right. And you let these hypocrites and liars tell you that the Imam don't want you to get no money. Understand, Imam used to tell the children every night, don't die broke. Yeah. Now I know him, I worked with him, worked with him in the early years. So I know we were working hard when we were on Stone Down trying to revive the bank. Yes, sir. Yeah. We tried to open the supermarket up. Some of y'all lazy people. Now I thought we tried to reopen, keep the bank. Yeah, try to keep it. Yeah. I ain't here to give you the nation's business. I know it. And none of the nation's officials will come around me because I worked with Imam Muhammad and I knew business. And I know what we were on our way to. I know about the airport, know the scams they running, all that. So that, I ain't gonna bring you no secrets up. Statute of limitations up on most of them, but I'm not bringing them because I'm not here to embarrass somebody. But I'm here to tell you that Imam Muhammad always has been about the business of freeing his people. Yes, he was. Huh? Yes, he was. That's his concern. And we wouldn't have the crime problem. Michael Brown probably would have been dead today if we had followed the Blight Arrest Pioneer Patrol. Huh? That's right. If we had the New Earth Team and gone into the neighborhood, and even when we revived it with the CPC and given jobs and showed business, we would have ran the disciples. See, oh man, one of my sons, don't talk about disciples. I convert disciples. There's no disciples. I mean real conversion, not the fake ones. Not so I'm going to fake them. I convert El Rukins. I convert Crips. I convert Bloods. God, why? Most of us here were Crips and Blood, right? Of our day. Some of you won't own up to it. Get you mad, come out of gangster league, man. We having a good time here because this is family. And you all who are in radio land, you all who are in TV land, you should understand how we address our problem. We address them differently. You see, we're not here to fire you up, to get you all jumped up. But by the way, we want to fire you up again because our life is a fire up. I don't need Zig Ziglar. I don't need any motivator. Just listening to the words of our people before they hear scripture. Listen to their Abrahamic logic. They were told God is never concerned about you. Tom Burgess said we have erased all of our humanity. Didn't he say it? He said we think we have shut the complete light out of them. They told him they will perpetually be a beast, a burden. We don't have to worry about it. That's what he said. They told him, you don't even worry about God. God is not looking at you. You're a subhuman. And our people used to say in the bush, over my head, I see trouble. I heard music. There must be a God somewhere. That's what they said. They didn't know the Bible. The Quran had been taken away from them. They had been beaten. That women had been raped. That's how we address misogyny. That's how we address brutalization. It's a social, psychological thing. Don't go here and condemn Mike Brown. You ain't going out and taught him. Huh? Oh, well, he pushed somebody. He stole somebody. Yeah, I ain't going to justify nothing he did, but I'm going to address his problems. I'm going to address. You people in Chicago are reenactment what the psychologists call an Emmett Till experience. Some of y'all forgot Emmett Till, didn't you?
Yeah.
I didn't.
Me.
I never will forget it. And God is bringing back a consciousness of through Eric Garner, through Mike Brown, through that 12-year-old, that the day of you playing is over. That we as a people have to turn to God and ask God to heal us. And Imam Mohammed said, that Allah said, his name, one of his names is Rabb. He said, the Rabb would let that, you have suffered enough. He said, now come and let me aid my servant. I want to read you something. I hope it won't, no, I won't read it. Because one of our enemies sent me a note. He says, since you're the biggest supporter of Mosque here, he said, Allah had to give you cancer to slow you down. Hey, he wrote me. That's what he said. He's a devil. He's a tool of the devil. And I said, look, if I got cancer, buddy, and I do, and I'm working like the dickens, 7 days a week, and the doctor tell me the prospect look good, so y'all may have to, and I'm telling you something, are you read what I read from Rome? The Roman Empire. I'm saying 3 years, we're going to hit the victory. Let me tell you something, we're going to be at it. And this is continuation of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's prediction. He said we will go down to nothing. We haven't even gone down to nothing. Yeah. He said only save Detroit, try to save Detroit, and try to save Chicago. We ain't going down to nothing. Right. And Imam said, 1975, I couldn't understand it. June 75, the mosque, the packed, millions heard him on the hookup. 40,000 people down in Mohammed Place, people couldn't even get in. He said, this nation of Islam will go away. And they're going to say, whatever happened to the nation of Islam? He said, but when it comes back, it will be an academic power. It will be a business power. It will be a cultural power. It will be a governmental power. That's right. And we are seeing the resurrection of this community. Yes, I saw in the eyes of the believers. Got to tell you a little humor. Believer came from the West Coast. So I asked him about the big Imam on the West Coast. I said, where's so-and-so on it? I'm signifying that. Because he sounded a little bit like that. You know, the leaders of the cities form the people. See, most of us from New York, we act like Yusuf Shah, Imam Yusuf Shah. We're formed more by him than we're formed by Minister Malcolm. I know people say that. But most are Minister Farrakhan. Most of them were not formed by Minister Farrakhan. Minister Farrakhan, unfortunately, if it had not been for Imam Mohammed, would have been killed in New York. That's right. He was hated in New York. I tell you that. Ma'am got him out as an act of mercy. Don't let him tell you that. I know brothers went up to him, called him a sissy. And I ain't here to pick on Minister Farrakhan. You know, I love him, and I love correcting him. But I'm just telling you the facts. These are facts. So they thought the community, and then as a community, make the transition. These people are telling people, messages, don't do this, don't do that. I remember one of them told me when I was Imam, he said, don't sell no more papers. They wanted to sit down on the Imam. Wouldn't bring nobody out. I busted them at the Imam's meeting. I know you ain't got nobody here. I know your folk. They ain't here. We ain't gonna have that in 2015. No, we got a lot of good young people, and some of them just came out of the streets. And my only problem I have with some of them, I'm trying to control them. So, oh, brother, no. We don't need no blood. I talk of you mean gay, but I ain't acting on nothing, man. Come on. I don't want to bust a grape. But they're coming back. They're returning. They're going out in the street like the Raven. Y'all remember the Raven? Yeah. He went out, came back. And that's what's going to happen with your children. That's what's going to happen to your grandchildren. Huh? Rick Rick Ross can't satisfy them. Nicki Minaj can't satisfy them. This teaching of Imam W. Deen Muhammad is what will satisfy them. It is for our soul. Huh? And when we stand up as a people and go first to God and repent how we mistreat each other in our home, how we mistreat ourselves, and understand why you're doing it. Own up to the feelings. You're doing it because you see yourself still as a piece of property. I don't care whether you got Arabic names written all in your brain. And some of you got the biggest denial. You Arabic scholars, you have just denied that you're Willie Culpepper's son. Huh? You deny that you're from the plantation. You deny. You got every Bible, and I'm not against Arabic. I'm studying it. I'm glad to see Imam Deen Muhammad, and this is to show you the kind of facility Mosque is. Every need of ours is fulfilled here. Culture, sister, culture, business. The 4 rivers went out from the garden and became great heads. Huh? Sister Lynn teaching science. Huh? New Africa marketplace. I am predicting that next year we will outgrow this facility. And I'm telling you, I'm not saying it empty because I'm working that hard to make sure that happens. Without a title, y'all. Don't need one. Don't need no title. In fact, it's probably better for me not to have one. Because what we have is an independent ministry that goes into the neighborhoods, that reaches, I told Imam, the 5 million or more. I said 1.5, probably 5 million, that they're pushed out. You know how you know the population of these cities? When Imam Mohammed come to these cities, you see thousands of people. And the imams will set up all proud and happy. I said, these people don't need these guys. They don't even know. You named the big 3, they don't even know who they are. I said, wait a minute, where did that come from? What was his ex? I said, no, that's the brother who knows the ex now. The only one they were filling was Imam W. Deen Muhammad. Stony Island, people look like they came out of the bars and alleys and everywhere. Yeah, Brother Wallace, man, teaching, man. You know, I had a guy told me, he said, man, you know, I'm going to tell you something, brother. I'm coming over there. He said, Brother Wallace stopped me from being a pimp. He said, I was pimping. I was pimping on the corner. And the Imam told him, he said, you know, brother, you know, Imam he shrouded it. And the man had a little sugar in his tank, too. So he said, the Imam told him, because most of the boys are pimps, that's what they do have. Because, see, the playboys, you have to understand slavery. Right. Slavery, one of the boys, I want to finish up, because I'm moving really by inspiration. I had notes, but I'm reading you what happened to George Washington Carver. George Washington Carver, a national reporter called me and asked me did I know that George Washington Carver had been castrated. Yeah. And I said, yes, I know it. So that nonsense of Minister Malcolm, that rhetoric, the house Negro and the field Negro, was nothing but a lie and rhetoric. The field Negro many times was more abused. They were used in many cases as homosexual play toys. Yep. The Mandingo came about. They were sexual toys. That what we see this in the story of Joseph. Yeah. It's in there for a reason. They went after our men, and then if they were caught, many times they were killed. Many times the master approved it. All this white swapping took place from them. So our people were subjected to some of the horrible condition. So to have him in the house, they first castrated him. And I almost cried when I heard his voice. They got a tape of him. He sounded like a girl. They did it when he was 10 years old. But this is not uncommon in the history of slavery. They had eunuchs among the Arabs. I'm not here to beat up Arabs either. But we need to study the life of man and know that you got the worst dose of any slavery in this. There's nobody. You bring Dr. Akbar Muhammad, his uncle, he know it. He won't come in and tell me anything other than facts. That This slavery in America was the worst. So much so they call it the peculiar institution. Now I know one of you historians out there. That doesn't what the peculiar institution means. It really means that you have slavery and democracy. No, it didn't. He was describing a peculiar slavery that only existed in North America.
Right, that's what I could know.
Never in the history. The people in Jamaica didn't experience that.
No.
Some of them were maroons and went up into the hills.
That's right.
They had to negotiate with them.
Yep.
They still had Ashanti culture.
Yep.
Huh? They haven't done very much with it, right? But, because they still, I'm telling you, our people, wherever you go in the Western Hemisphere, in bad shape. I don't know what some of you know. This ministry that I'm working on, called Religion Means Alive, we are dedicating this work to the recovery from the effects of slavery. Some of you other people, y'all have other work to do. That's what God has put in my heart, to help our people recover from the effects of slavery. I know our people in Peru are doing so badly that in fact they can be nothing but graveyard diggers. And in Mexico, you read the Mexican papers, they're called monkeys. Right across the border, Honduras. Yes, they call them monkeys. The Garifuna people in Honduras, Belize, they're kind of rebel people. They call them maroon people. They have formed our communities. Warm people. We got to get this message to them. We got to translate this in Spanish. We got to liberate our people. Even our people in the Dominican Republic, they think they ain't even one of us. That island of Hispaniola and mulatto. Most of the people in Dominican Republic, you know who they are? They basically Africans.
Yeah.
That's all they are. And of course, I think it was in 1929 they signed a treaty, Trujillo, and he just slaughtered maybe 200,000 to 300,000, maybe 2 million of our people. So our people need this message wherever they go. And as we focus here on Ferguson, as we focus on Eric Garner, we have to understand we have been induced by the culture to be a moving target. Now I tell you something. I suggested to somebody, and it was God knew better than why I didn't go to Ferguson. God knows. But I was invited. But I had a proposal specifically for those people. And I told somebody, I didn't tell the leaders. He said, the leaders, the people had proposed. I'm telling you something, the people down in Ferguson ain't filling these traditional leaders. Yeah. And a certain figure, if he went down there, he'd get run out. They run people out. They ran Jesse Jackson out. Ran them out of there. Not because they ain't saying nothing. They have allowed our people in the last 50 years to deteriorate, and they didn't do nothing but work against Imam Mohammed. You know that to be a fact. Now try to work with the gangs, try to help our people, and they worked against them. So that's why our people are under punishment. And the rest of you were buck dancing and playing games better repent and ask God. We started off in 2009 saying that we have to repent and turn back to the ancestral spirit. God, that covenant that we made with God. And I'm telling you, if we do that, and then just to show that we are men, we need to find one of these big industries and put a boycott on. Took $1 billion out of their hand. I guarantee they'll find a way to prosecute. Well, John, I tell you something. I don't know about the law, but God damn it, we got to change this. Look. I don't know what those Negroes are doing. But I went over there and tried to talk to a Muslim leader. I offered him a TV program. He said, no, I don't want no TV program. So I'm on Blog Talk Radio. You guys got to be a fool, you know. I mean, I offered them the money. And anyway, he can't talk to him. He's leading these people. He's telling them not to buy in my store. What the hell, John? What's going on? Well, John, I'm going to tell you, that's Elijah Muhammad's people. And that's why I didn't think I thought they were dead. Why didn't you tell me that? That's what they'll go back to that Negro slave, the slave keepers. You know, John, I told you, John, I'm gonna have to fire you. Do you think I'm channeling the kind of conversation these people have? But they think we're a joke. But this Eric Garner case is changing the equation.
Yes.
And the reason it's changed the equation, these white supremacists, I don't call them racists, I like Mohammed's term. He said, why do you use the term racist? Racist just means one to love their race. They're white supremacists.
Right.
Those people now are even embarrassed. Choking a man who's trying to make a living. And if the civil rights so-called leaders had been right, if we could have forced an indictment, because first thing we would have done is showed this man as a family man and as a peacemaker. Huh? But these police officers, due to our horrible imagery, the way we abuse and misuse each other, invite us being a prey. And then we don't have any moral authority because we don't say a damn thing about Ray Ray. We don't say we'll take $20,000 of our money and go and get our son out of jail, and we know he hit that lady upside the head. You know what I told all of mine? Now I went to jail. You know what I told them? I said, boy, if you get in jail, don't call Daddy.
That's right. That's right.
And you know what my son said? I got a 41-year-old son. He said, look, Dad. He said, Dad, I told the guy out there doing things. I'm scared, man. I know you weren't going to play jail. He heard me tell one of his uncles, I don't take calls from correctional facilities.
That's right. Our parents told us that too.
Didn't take no calls from him. My brother, brother next to me. When he told me, I'm sorry y'all family members listening, I love you. But he told me that he shot this man, he should have gotten away with it. I said, I can't take no more collect calls here. See, that's what our families had. That was the original African. They said God does not love ugly, right? And ain't crazy about beauty. That's what they said. They said, you know, two rights, two wrongs don't make a right. So we have to be equal. That's why nobody pays attention. That's why Juliana was able to whoop Michael Eric Dyce's behind on TV. He said, you talking about the police? He said, you can't say nothing. He said, because of the police, they protect you from killing yourself. Dyson had no argument. I would have said something to him.
Yes, sir.
Maybe, well, but I tell you, I would have given him a few fiery words. Maybe the criminals in certain ethnic groups,
Like his.
you said it, wouldn't put out, I don't want to embarrass myself. Certain ethnic groups would stay out of our neighborhoods, running the numbers in prostitution and extortion. Maybe also could reduce the police. Would you not agree with that? I'm going to correct Ray Ray. Now you would correct Vinny.
And Paulie.
Yeah. Now, see, you talk like that. Not like some wild-eyed, blazing militant, but like a rational person. But calling correction of your own people, cleaning our neighborhoods up. Let us work for a huge Savior's Day so we can send a statement. Some of these guys may either be converted or have a heart attack. I'm telling you. I'm serious. They're getting scared now. I tell you, I want to finish this story. I didn't forget that from Los Angeles. So she's his brother. He sounds like this big leader. So I said to him, brother, how are the believers doing out there? I'm signifying. I said, where's so-and-so then? He said, Alfred, Mohammed, you all people shouldn't be talking about that. Oh, you shouldn't be talking with them niggas. I don't know where them dead niggas are. He using another word. But yeah, he came in spite of the leaders. And he came back this year. He came in 12. He came in 13. He was here in 14. I saw a doctor from out in the West Coast. And she's not one of these doctors who get that degree in a mailbox. I'm talking she's actually a medical doctor, board certified physician. She was here. They're coming back. They thought they put out their best. They had language conferences. They had business conferences.
That's right.
And you go and they ain't got about 100 people. They can't even attract flies to a dump. Now I know they're going to show off at Fur Coast next week. They didn't know. There's going to be a gala. I won't be there. I won't. And I haven't given up on them either. Because you know what? When you brothers get your sons and get with me and we start selling 50,000 papers, I bet she'll change that paper. I know she will.
Oh yeah.
That's what you got to do. You got to outwork these people. Huh? Go out with your books. We done got scared now. Hey, I got some age on me. But I ain't scared to go right on the street with this book right now. This is the answer, brothers and sisters, to what's happening. This is how we used to do in the Temple of Islam. We would pack the house at this very garden. We would have got 300 or 400 converts.
Yeah.
Brothers and now sisters, we want all you to come and we're going to discuss how Messenger Muhammad's program will work to stop these beasts from killing us. So the minister get up and give a diatribe, and they in there sign a whole bunch of papers and books. And we get about 50, 60 new paper salesmen out there. The brothers don't form. Brother Sharif, isn't that right? We use all of those events. And you're going, when I message, we don't even talk about these things. But again, don't talk about it from some like militant. Don't talk like Shopton. Talk the way you heard Imam Mohammed address these issues. Address your people, not to put them down, but to pick them up. Now, some people gonna call it criticizing our people. Some people gonna call it beating our people. I don't care. But we do it because we love. Remember this as I close. Our prophet said, Lan kul jannata hatta tu'minu, wa lan tu'minu tahabbu. None of you will enter paradise, peace, Jannah inside of you until you have faith. And none of you will have faith. The word is stronger than land. Land is stronger than land. And none of you will have faith until you love one another. Isn't that what Jesus said? Love ye one another as I have loved you. That's right. We can go home now. That's all we got to do. Practice that. Now, let's push the Savior's Day. Tell all your friends, y'all get on the phone, y'all gossip. I know you do. Call up somebody and say, man, say, look, brother, I know you ain't been around a while. First, how you doing? That's number one. Ain't nobody gonna listen to you if you don't have no love for them. But then next thing, be a salesman. So a salesman won't give you about a 1 minute before, yeah, Mr. Mohammed, how are you? Good. Wow. Nice suit you have on. Yeah. Mr. Mohammed, I had a question for you. Now, we're selling insurance at a very phenomenal rate. Even got old dinosaurs like you. That's all I put down. He said, we're going to sell you. And you know what? If you hit on enough people that way, somebody will come. So we should pack the Savior's Day. Like, and we should, there's none but one Ramadan session. I'm going to be, but I think things that our finances are improving in our ministry. And we're going to be on some major television and major radio. One brother told me, he says, well, you know, I don't want no Reverend, I don't like people trying to be like Reverend Jakes. Well, I ain't trying to be like Jakes, I'm trying to be superior to Jakes. But I sure want an audience. And I'm going to push for that. And that's what we're going to get. But we want to make this Ramadan session phenomenal. To start working on it now. Phenomenal. I don't know where I'm going to get the money from, but I'm going to offer a contest so the person can bring the most people to the Ramadan session. And we should send to, I know everybody wants to go to Hajj. Man, I'm a Haji, man, Haji. We give you a Hajj, get some prizes for the person that can register the most people. We're planning a huge event in New Jersey.
We can make that happen.
Yes, yes. In New Jersey, we're planning a 3-day New Africa conference. My partner, Adib Shaka. And we're going to have it in the park. We're going to get a hotel and a whole bunch of money. We'll have Juma in the park. I'm going to conduct the Juma. And I'm going to invite our people to come to the Juma, our African-American people to come to the Juma. And I want them to come to the Juma and say, this, like Mr. Farad said, this is where your ancestors worship back home. We want our people to know that. Our 3 great leaders made sure that they put Islam in their works. I'm talking about the great Benjamin Elijah Mays. In his work, he said in a meeting he had with Gandhi, he didn't give his answers, wise Baptist preacher. He said, but Gandhi said to him, you know, Thurman, your people should be Muslim. He said, if they were Muslim, they would automatically be brother. This is Gandhi, a Hindu man, telling an African American that. Number 2, the great Benjamin Elijah Mays, born to rebel, says that he was riding on a train in Egypt and an Egyptian woman asked him the question, why was he a Christian? A Muslim woman, he said, made it plain. Dr. King closed out his last book, and he too brought to our attention that the Christian, Muslim, Jewish, Muslim concept of God is love. In a book, in the last chapter of the last book, The World House. Our leaders, the righteous ones of them, know that we have to make a turn outside of Christianity. And out of there, with the remnants of people who will remain Christian, will be revived by us. But it's very, very difficult for us as a people to overcome the effects of slavery when we are worshiping a being that looked like the man of pressure. That's called ambiguity in psychology. It makes you ambiguous. And then you feed yourself 10 hours of TV. No wonder you cuss your kids out, beat them up, cuss your husband out, call him all kinds of names. You have reinforced white supremacy in your home. So dear people, I'm going to, and we have the 6:55 flight, I believe we have to get. If we can take some questions or comments, I want to bring our leader right on. Come on. Yes, sir.
You were saying about cleaning up our neighborhoods. Same thing with our schools. I have relatives who are working in the schools in Michigan, and finding out it is our own people that have sold our children out, stealing from them, taking the money, spending, and not educating our own kids. We're talking about us as people, and that is definitely what's happening. And when the governor's taking over, they're taking over the schools, and they find out, you get in there and you got to clean house. They got, I don't care, the preachers, politicians, they're crooks, and they stole from our children. And once you clean that out, you can't blame it on somebody else. You need to come over, and then when they said we need our own schools, definitely we need our own schools, and what Dr. Lynn is coming on with, we need to get that pushing and